Hello, everyone out there, and welcome to the table. So what I have on the table for us today, this is a flashlight from Wurkkos. And so this is their model, their TS26. And so this is actually a pretty good option. So if you have never owned a so-called serious flashlight before, this is actually a great step into the wider world of, your nice everyday carry flashlights. A lot of great features on this light, and it definitely impressed me straight out of the box. So let's take a look at this light here. So this one, of course, you can see it's all blacked out. We have the push button switch up here. We have a magnetic tail cap, and it uses a fairly large sized battery. And I like that it's replaceable. So we can take it out right through here. And so we have the branded battery, 5,000 milliamp hours, and it's a 21700 battery. So if this battery was ever to be worn out, get damaged somehow, you could always just swap in a new rechargeable battery into the body of the flashlight and carry on with your day. So I like that it's not a sealed design, which a lot of flashlights do nowadays. So the battery in there can be charged right here in the light. There's a USB-C port right here. So there's a little rubber door. You can charge it right through there. And it did include the cord as well with the flashlight. But I mean, USB-C is pretty ubiquitous at this point. So we all probably have one of those lying around. The actual light design, though, it is really nice. This is all aluminum, so this is metal, and the fluted design on the handle right there gives you a pretty good grip. It does feel very high quality in hand. So the fluted design looks really good. It feels really good. We do have a pocket clip as well right there, and it's one of those double-sided clips, so you can carry it in a pocket. You could potentially also clip this to a ball cap or something. Although this flashlight, it's kind of heavy, so I don't know if you necessarily want it on a baseball cap, but I'm sure there are a lot of uses you could use the pocket clip for if you get creative with it. But the actual flashlight itself. So again, sometimes keeping it simple is just the best option you can have out there, right? So we have a push button right here and one button on, one push off. Very simple, but there are a lot of other modes you can utilize if you want to. And I'm going to compare the modes on this light to some other lights that I have, just to show you that this one is pretty well thought out, and I kind of like what they went with here. So again, the on and off is just your basic on and off, and you can choose 3 different brightnesses. So I think this is medium. So if you hold it down, it goes brighter, and then it goes back down to low. And then one tap again turns it off. And it remembers, so when I turn it on again, it'll be low again, which is kind of nice. If I really just need the turbo going on, the really bright one, you can double tap the button and boom, it gets super bright turbo right there. I mean, I can feel the heat coming off of this light, and the turbo actually stays on for quite a nice amount of time. So easily a minute plus, because a lot of lights, as soon as you hit that turbo, you get maybe 20 seconds of turbo before it ramps down because of the heat coming off the light. This one was pretty impressive. It held it for quite a while. So that's a good thing. So that double tap gets you a turbo. The triple tap gets you a really brilliant strobe. I don't even know if I want to do it because it's super bright and annoying, but triple tap. So I don't even know if you can see that, but that's really annoying. I'm going to turn it off, but it gets you that strobe effect, which could be useful for some situations. And what the coolest feature on this one, the one I really appreciate the most, is if you do 4 taps. You saw it blink, right? So what that does is it puts on the safety. So if you're carrying this in your pocket, throwing it into a bag, and something taps that button, it's not going to turn the light on. You can see it just flashes. It warns you. It says, hey, I'm in safe mode. So it's your safety, which is really, really nice to have a safety to it because, again, with the amount of heat coming off of this light, if it goes on in your pocket or in your bag accidentally, that could literally burn through your stuff. And you don't want it to do that. So having a safety is absolutely essential with these really bright LED tactical style lights. So there we go. Safety is off. We see the green light again, and boom, turn it off. So remember, it remembered that it was on the really low setting. So that's always very nice. And so the actual safety features are a great one. I know a lot of lights have them, but I like how this one's implemented very much. In terms of the color of this light, the temperature of the light, this is a 5000 K temperature, which means it's a slightly warmer light. It's not super white. So it's kind of has a little bit of the yellowish color in there, which I think some people prefer. For me as a flashlight user, I don't really care all that much about the color temperature of the light, but for some it matters. You know, I suppose color reproduction, something along those lines, is what people are looking for. But of course, the specs are all right here on the box, so feel free to pause right here if you're interested in any of those. But the idea is your standard high is 750 lumens, which is plenty bright for most cases, and the turbo gets pretty bright. So no issues there. We are waterproof rated, so it's IPX8, and the only openings on the light, again, are going to be the battery end right here, and then the USB-C port, which has, again, this rubberized opening. And so again, other flashlights that you may already own, if you don't have any tactical lights, you know, fancy lights like this, I know most of us out there, we have something like this. You know, you get these at Walmart, your big box stores. They're pretty bright. You know, it just has a push button on there, turns on, turns off. But they have these weird settings where you have to cycle through it. It's like medium, low, flashy, you know, slow flashy, and sometimes on and off is really just your best, most useful setting you could have. And if you don't like switching through all your settings to get to the one you want, that's where these slightly higher priced lights come in, because there's nothing wrong with these. These ones use your super standard. I think these are just your basic. Yeah, these are like super cheap, like an 18650 battery. Again, rechargeable, not in a light, but it is rechargeable. But again, they're not great. They're functional. So this is definitely a step up from that. And so this light here retails about $50, but they always have coupons and things. So it's going to be like more like 40 by the time you get it. So that's always a nice thing. And so even if you have a light collection like me, I'm very kind of invested into the Olight ecosystem, because Olight makes a lot of good stuff too. And so this one right here, this is the Olight Baton 3 Pro. And so just in comparison, really the main difference here is that we have the safety feature on Olights too. So you can turn it on, turn it off. Their safety is activated by holding down the button, just holding it down. So you can see it kind of on. Okay, so now when you try and turn it on, the red light's there, so you know it's on safe. And it's just a hold down process. I really do like the 4 taps, you know, and the blink. So, to me, that's a lot more sure than just holding it down for a random amount of time. So to me, I think the taps are a lot more efficient and a lot less likely to be accidentally triggered, because whether you purposely put the safety on or off, when you want your light to actually function, you really do want it to turn on immediately. So you don't want the safety to go off on accident. So the Baton also has the magnetic rear end with that proprietary charger, magnetic rear end here, but no magnetic charging, just the USB-C. So I think most people are going to prefer the USB-C charging. But when it comes to the magnetic end, I think that's something, it's kind of a cool feature, can be useful, because I know you've seen all the advertising, people like, you know, they put the little blade on there and then they hang it by a tree or something, but you can see, you know, it can hold itself up. This light is kind of heavy, but it does hold up on a flat surface. Like if the steel surface is curved, it may not hold the light sufficiently, but in most situations, I would say the magnet is pretty functional. So there is that. So that's always a good thing. But let's compare the weights of these lights, honestly, because this one feels kind of chunky, and so this one's weighing in at 6.1 ounces. The Olight here, 5.2. Our little cheapie from Walmart, 5.5. So yeah, they're all, you know, within the ballpark, and this is the heaviest of the bunch, but the heaviness often comes with that solid feeling. So in my opinion, really cool light, great purchase. And I will be super transparent. Maybe I should have said this at the beginning, but Wurkkos sent this to me. They just reached out to me and offered to send this over. And since I already have kind of an extensive flashlight collection, I wanted to see how Wurkkos would stack up to a lot of my Olights. And I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. And again, I do prefer the safety feature on the Wurkkos. That's actually preferred for my use case, at least.